We're in for a wild night.
Welcome everybody to episode 93 of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It's great to be back on a beautiful Friday evening here in Portland, Oregon. It has been such an absolute just crazy week for me, and I have slept not nearly enough hours this week, and so things have been a little bit wild in my neck of the woods, but I'm excited that it's finally Friday and that we get to hang out here and do the show and talk about some Hearthstone, which is always a great time. Of course, I'm joined here by two of my favorite people. Hydra, welcome back. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you, Nate. It's great to see the both of you guys. It's always great to be here on Friday night, coming at you guys from the greater area of Vancouver. And I've been having just, pretty decent week. Work's been a little crazy for me as well. I've been filling a lot of my time recently playing The Witcher 3. I've been making my way through that series, and it's going to take me a while. Let's put it that way. It's a way longer game than I thought it was going to be. So I'm the type of person that is talking to every NPC and is like doing every side quest and all the stuff. So it's gonna be a bit. But other than that, I'm still working my way through the Dark Tower series. I'm almost through the 5th book, and it's just been exciting being able to do those things after work and on my lunch break. I've been doing the whole listen. While I go on my walks. But I'm just super excited to be here tonight. And let's do this, guys.
Nice. And of course, welcome back, Electric Sheep City. How are you tonight?
Meowdy, doing pretty well here in icy Southeast Texas. It iced over last night. Night before. So it's been a very Alterac-centric weather theme around these parts.
Fitting.
Absolutely. Today was my last day at my current job. Ooh. So very glad to finally be free there. I was lamenting with Nate and Hydra before the show started. So it's 8:30-ish p.m. for us now. I got off work on my final day at 7, which is atypical. It's supposed to end at 5, but freedom is attained. So ready to talk some Heart of the Cards with my good buddies here. Let's go.
Nice. They just had to keep you just a little bit longer there at the end.
Yeah, I can tell they're going to miss me because they didn't want to let me leave.
Wow. Well, I'm excited for your new opportunities, and hopefully they will be great. I'm excited for you, and I hope that it goes well, and I'm glad that at least as one journey comes to an end, you got something else lined up, and it should be fun.
Excitement abounds.
That's right.
And thank you for the well wishes.
Yeah, of course. Excitement abounds. I should have known there was a sheepism coming.
Sheepism indeed.
We're sitting here going back and forth before the show. My computer tonight decided that it needed to have a Windows critical update, and that the graphics card needed a driver update, and all of the Corsair stuff that I use for mouse and keyboard and all the other stuff needed an update. I was like, come on. And they couldn't, you have to do them one at a time. You can't do them all at the same time. And I had to reboot at least twice. It's like,
come on.
The one night, last week, everything was working great, but I was running behind. And this week, I had prepped ahead of time, and the computer, of course, is, and as Sheep would say, this is the way.
You beat me to
it. So, oh dear.
How many updates did you have?
I had 3. It felt like a lot longer than that. The worst part of it is
more than 2.
That was a setup, by the way.
You said very much so. All right.
Couldn't help myself.
Yeah, so for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. I'll briefly explain how the show works. So we record the podcast live every Friday evening right here on twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of the podcast is then posted to YouTube the very next day. Audio versions are then distributed to all the podcast apps as well. So however you're watching or listening or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes. You.
Yeah, and before we get started with the main topic of the show, I wanted to say a quick but very important thank you to Shokunin and the other patrons of our show. Really appreciate your support. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, comment on this video on YouTube, as this helps us with the algorithms to try to help other people find the show. Another way to support the show is to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, Google, or your other podcast platform of choice, as that helps other people find the show. If you're watching this live on Twitch, we do have some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to this channel, and there is a free option if you use Amazon Prime. One thing that we discovered last week was that we had significantly more emote slots than I knew that we had, and so I'll be working with Christina, our artist, to come up with some new ones, which is really exciting. Speaking of which, we're working on some much overdue alt-rec artwork with her right now, and been working on that with her all this past week, and so far the drafts are so cool. I'm really excited to like, I love seeing the progress, and she's just so good at it. So anyways,
I'm really excited for that art-rec work.
Oh, it wouldn't be a show without these witty puns.
That one was a bit of a stretch, I'm not going to lie.
A little bit.
Hey, if you would like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord. It is a free and amazing online community of friends that we've made all across the world. We have fun throughout the week, talking about Hearthstone and life, and we share deck codes and lists and all that stuff. And it's exciting. I mean, especially that's where I go to get deck lists many of the times, and really just to hang out and interact with people. So yeah. Anyways, really excited to jump into this week. Hey, links to all of this stuff and more can be found on our website, which is borntobewildhs.com. So yeah, please check it out. And let's get on with the show. Hydra, what is new in the world of Hearthstone?
Well, wild specific, there's pretty much nothing. Wah, wah, wah. There's a couple things. Won't get into them in too much detail, but there's some cosmetics. I know the three of us like to dip our toe or a credit card into purchasing all these new skins. They look pretty cool. So we got that. The Tavish Book of Heroes is out. And you know what I didn't notice is in these Book of Heroes and all these solo content things that have been coming out recently, you know how we didn't, like, if you did Rokara at the beginning, you didn't get the crown, and they kept saying just, you can do it now. You can repeat it and get the crown. Well, I never did redo it, but the crown showed up again.
Nice.
So I'll take that. And I don't know if that just happened this last patch or whatever, but I just took a look and it was there.
Huh.
So there's that. There's also a bit of a bug if anybody out here plays duels. I know that we have that quest to play, 3 standard games and play 3 duels games. And on all 3 servers, I'm locked out of duels currently because I went back to the main menu mid-run. And then now, if you click the button to play duels, it just sort of freezes up and nothing happens.
Great.
So
Does it let you complete the quest? Like, do you...
Yes, I believe as long as you don't exit out, you complete the quest. But I think one of my problems is, so on EU, I made a duels run. I did it. I went 4 games. I completed the quest at 3, but I played another one. And then I backed out, and I was like, actually, that was kind of fun. I want to continue playing. And I couldn't get back in.
Rip.
And then so I hop over onto NA, and I had a duels run that was already in progress, right? So I'm like, oh, well, I'll just continue whatever I have there. Same thing. Just hit the button, and the button goes gray, and nothing happens. And so I looked online, and apparently it's a thing. Other people are saying the same thing. They can't get into their duels runs if they exit. So I don't know. This has happened to me in the past 2 or 3 days. I don't think it's been hot fixed yet, but yeah, it's a bit of a bummer if you're a duels player. So you have to do your entire run and don't back out.
That makes sense why it didn't affect me so much. I jammed through all of the legendary quests in one sitting. Like, I had finally got a little bit of a breathing room earlier in the week, and I was like, I'm exhausted. I want to take a hot bath, and I was watching. I love to do like Hearthstone with a little picture-in-picture of in the corner from Netflix or Hulu or whatever it is. And I was started rewatching Luther, like from BBC Crime Show with Idris Elba, and it's really good. Anyways, I started watching that. I was like, oh, I'll do this, going through the legendary quest, and was like, do a duel run. I was like, oh, okay. And I just sat through and did it, did the whole thing, and until I lost. And I did it with Demon Hunter, and it was super fun, actually. And I think I hit, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 or whatever it was, something like that. And then it ended. I'm like, all right, well, it's done. I'll move on to the next thing. And hadn't touched it again, but
yeah, I think one of the parts that bugs me about it the most, and this is my fault, but on Asia, I still hadn't completed the quest from Wintervale that was to do 3 duels, and it was a legendary quest. So I have 2 of my quest slots that say play 3 duels games on Asia, just sitting there, and I can't play duels.
oh, how sad.
And it takes up 2 slots. And then the 3rd or 4th slot is challenge a friend. So if anybody wants to friend me on Asia, we can get rid of that one.
Hey, there we go. I did see that Nick, I believe, had posted earlier. Deck Tech had posted something earlier about the known issues kind of being in the here it is. There's a known issues post in the Hearthstone or Blizzard forums of Lunar New Year quest chain bug. So it looks like they're working on it for whatever that's worth. But anyways,
Yeah.
See, whenever you're talking about Deck Tech posting something, I thought you were going to talk about the hair comparison between his profile picture and his new Hearthstone development team jacket
That was pretty funny.
picture. It's just hilarious.
I loved it. It was great. Yeah.
That's basically about it for the news. I don't think we had anything else.
Yeah. Hey, y'all get anything good, by the way, just since there's really not much to talk about tonight, you guys get anything good in your golden packs?
I can't get to the golden pack because I can't get to that stage of the quest.
Rip.
I got some golden epic that I forgot about because it wasn't a big one. I mean, I already had all the golden commons and rares, so it was just kind of like, oh, hey, rounding out some more of the golden epics too. Cool, we take those.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything noteworthy. It wasn't anything that I actually play in either wild or standard. So, meh.
Sad.
NBD for me. How about you?
I got it was essentially the golden equivalent of 40 dust. So whatever 400 dust or whatever you want to call it. But it's fine. It's fine. It's
I will say I do miss the which golden epic am I getting at the end of the month?
Yeah.
That we used to get.
I miss that too.
Same.
It was just like an exciting moment. Like, oh, which one do I remember 2 months in a row, I got Faceless Manipulator and then another Faceless Manipulator.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
That's rad. I'm jealous. What a good card. And we don't play it as much anymore, but it's still a really great card, especially in like the listener series or I don't know, just from time to time. Yeah, that card's fun. I miss it. I forgot this past month when, like, because we just had the reset. So today is February the 4th. We had the ladder reset over the past week, and I had totally forgot. It was like I opened up Hearthstone and it, the ladder reset and like, all right, cool, here's your 10 stars and whatever it is. And then I looked and was like, why do I have 5 packs to open? I didn't buy any packs. And I was like, oh yeah, it's the ladder rewards. And of course I don't know. I think I got a legendary actually. I think I got another copy of Guff or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I got like Galvinger or something, but something I already had, just like an extra non-gold copy is like,
yeah,
it's fine.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'd rather have a golden copy of something I didn't have, but
yeah.
I really miss the golden thing, like
The goal, yeah.
common, rare, epic for hitting legend, like part of the rewards. I know that our friend of the show, Ben Hearthstone on Twitter's, that's one of the kind of his big pushes is like, hey, remember when this, and just kind of subtly every month, like, hey, remember that.
Hey, he's got some influence, I mean, maybe
He does.
So I love the idea of it. I wish they would do it, but free packs are free packs, I guess.
Yeah. And for people who are trying to build their collection, packs also are more beneficial.
Yeah.
People like us who are more whalish, like the golden cards appeal to us more. They have different player-based priorities for sure.
That's a good point. That's a good
Imagine
point.
you could select which one you wanted, though. Do you want to go with the goldens or do you want to go with the cards?
It's so funny. I almost just said that, and I was thinking, like, I've had these conversations all week at work with programming stuff, right? And I'm in charge of operations, but I work with the tech people, and so the conversation was, well, can't you just select one? I can have my 5 packs, or I can have my golden stuff. And they're like, well, yeah, but it's going to take us months and months to program, and it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. Like, I changed my mind.
Okay. More elegant solution. Just change it from packs to golden packs. Problem solved.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, all right, now we have a winner. Yes, all right. So that was a great solution. I like think outside the box solutions. You're hired. So yeah, I have not even touched the Tavish stuff. I really enjoy it, and maybe over the weekend I finally feel like I can breathe. This will be the finally a day that I don't have to set an alarm clock tomorrow, which will be nice. Anyways, I was thinking about doing something a little bit differently on the show tonight because we there's really no news to talk about, and there's not some hot topic or nerf coming or anything. And I was thinking it's kind of been the general consensus, right? Work has been crazy. We've all been super busy. And then I started down that line of thinking and realized, well, the ladder just reset and we just had nerfs over the past couple of weeks. And so there is no hot topic, but maybe an Abercrombie and Fitch.
I was thinking it, but I wasn't saying it.
I'm going to go with Banana Republic. So what I want to talk about is what is good to play on ladder right now. What should we be playing now that the ladder is reset and there's some new decks and there's some old decks that are they still viable? Are they not? And thought it might be fun to maybe kind of chat through these. I've barely played, to be perfectly honest. I barely had a chance to touch it this week, and I'll get most of my gaming in over the weekend probably. But curious to see, I see these hot takes on Discord or hot takes on Twitter of these decks that are playing. I saw NHL post this Reno Paladin, and I was like, "What is this?" But then
you mean LPG Mage?
yeah, right.
That's what he named it.
I just hear dust bait, but I also hear really fun. So I'm gonna try it.
It is fun. I played about only like 5 or 6 games with it, and I won most of those. But
I have a 100% win rate with that deck.
I say dust bait, but it actually does look pretty like actually competitively viable.
I've only played one game with it, but I won. Was also at bronze 10, so it is what it is. But anyways, then I saw some things. Blue Train messaged me earlier with kind of an update to Odd Questline Hunter being like actually playable. Wait a minute, what? And I thought it might be kind of fun to talk through some stuff maybe. So I've got our official, unofficial Born to be Wild tier list of games here. So I'm interested, in and anybody. I know a lot of times we don't really do a lot of interaction with chat because we're recording a podcast, but thought it might be kind of fun if people have hot takes or ideas. And so we'd reach out on Discord and other things, but kind of talk through like, what should we be playing on ladder right now? I saw Jordan playing Ignite Mage, post nerf and winning games with it. Now, what I guess sometimes you have to take these things with a grain of salt also, because if you have 11x, you can climb with a deck that is sometimes suboptimal because of the bonus stars. Now, right. I mean, we're still looking for, something that we could play on ladder consistently. I'm not looking for dustbait. I'm looking for what's actually good. And so definitely, like, I'm just going to add to my list and we could edit it here on the screen. But, like, I know, whatever you want to call it, right? Aggro, Shadow Priest? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Typically just call it Shadow Priest, but yeah, it's an aggro deck for sure.
We've got, I'm sure Cthulhu Druid is still good, right?
Oh, Cthulhu Druid is most of my matches. It's everywhere. So it's definitely viable.
Not super surprised on that one. I think it's the deck was solid when I played it, but the other thing is interesting that there are different pockets or metas depending on, your normal rank or your star bonus or stuff. So I'd kind of be curious who's seeing what.
I mean, myself personally, I've jammed some Pirate Warrior at the beginning with the quest, and it's a little slower, ever so slightly, but we got a lot of 1-drops, and it seems pretty much just as good as it was before.
I was gonna say because Dirty Rat is a thing. There's so many times that you want to wait to play your final quest item and Rokara at the same turn anyway. Yeah. So does it even really change it that much? Probably not.
Yeah, you have to make sure you hold on, because I feel like everybody's got their rat or their mutinous or whatever. Like, they're waiting for you. Right, so you can't do it. You can't pull that trigger early, and it's so funny, because I have made the mistake before of just not counting properly and adding Rokara to my hand, and then suddenly it's a 50-50, and they like eat an exhaust first mate. I'm like, woo!
Yeah, no, you can't. There's the disruption in Wild is just there. In every deck you're going to be facing Loathebs, you're going to be facing Dirty Rats, and like you just can't play into it. I've learned that one the hard way when I was trying to learn Odd Questline Hunter. Like, don't do it. You don't want Tavish in your hand. It's going to get destroyed. It's going to get pulled, ratted, eaten, etc. And like, you just have to play around it. Especially now that with the hit to Mage and the hit to Hunter, like Shaman is a big thing, and we're going to be playing lots of disruption, lots of Dirty Rats and other mana disruption, and like don't want my thing ratted. So all right, what do we think about in terms of this like Cthulhu Druid? I it's so slow though. I assume it's probably not some tier 1 deck. Probably tier 2 would be my guess. I know this is like our very unofficial opinion based thing.
I would agree.
So take it with with a grain of salt. I think and this
is probably low 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like a low 2. It's definitely solid, but Pirate Warrior, in my experience while playing Pirate Warrior, you can get under it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Same with Aggro Druid. Like I'll run into it, and if they can get Spreading Plague off, then I just buff my dudes and get through the Spreading Plague, and it's still fine. Yeah. And the point of Cthulhu Druid is to kind of feast on, the aggro decks, and whenever they can get through with either burst with the 2-mana deal 5 words. From Shadow Priest, the Mind Blast.
Yeah.
Burst from Shadow Priest or just board buffs from others, then,
Let me ask you, as like you had mentioned, I think you were at Diamond 5 playing mostly Aggro Druid, is that right?
Kind of about 50-50 with Aggro Druid and Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
I've been playing a fair amount of that. The beginning of the month for me is typically where I just kind of like jam aggro to like complete different stages, essentially. So mostly those two. Quite a bit of both. The one that we featured the other week is basically the build that I've continued with Aggro Druid there as well, and it's felt pretty good. So yeah,
Nice. I've seen people lately as well talking about Warlock.
yes,
Either Mechathune, and then I've seen people recently talking about Owl Warlock in Wild, which is something kind of new that I hadn't really experienced before. I mean, a lot of it in Standard for a little while there, and then it kind of fell out of favor.
yeah, I've run into a fair amount of even Warlock and Reno
Yes.
Lock as well.
Mostly even lock for me is what I've seen. Not so much the owl. I've seen it a while back, but it almost seemed like it was for the memes at the time. But I don't know. Is it good now?
Yeah, I think it's honestly still really good. It's basically like Mechathune, but slightly faster because you don't absolutely have to churn through your whole deck.
Yeah.
You typically do anyway because you're looking for your combo pieces, but you don't have to, right? So it's pretty good.
Cool.
Very defensive, churns through its deck real quick.
Yeah.
Like Mechathune.
Yeah. All right. So I've got all these down at the bottom here to sort. So Shadow Priest seems pretty strong to me right now. I don't know, let's put this in probably a tier 1 or a tier 2.
Yeah,
High
I'd say
two.
either low 1 or high 2.
I'm not quite sure what beats it. I mean, I've lost to it definitely. All right. What do you think about your Aggro Druid? Now, this is one that I just typically don't see on meta reports or tier lists.
Yeah, I'd say probably high tier 3. Like it's good. It's Aggro Druid. It has highly polarized matchups, and you know whether you're going to win or lose pretty quick. But it's off meta. I'd definitely say 3.
All right, and then this is another one that I've seen. I've heard people talking about recently, but I haven't really experienced it myself. Is Combo Priest. Now, I know our buddy Imic has been playing a ton of it and ended up in like top 100 Legend with it. Like climbed 1,000 ranks and played a ton of it. There's potential now with a bunch of new cards, including Drekthar, pulling stuff, but I haven't played it enough to really know much about it. So I want to try it, but I have no idea what I'm doing with it. I would love to do this and like report back, but I don't really have any information on this at all.
Yeah, I haven't played against it at all yet this season. I've played a little bit of it last season. It's pretty good. I mean, especially when you have someone who knows the deck really well, like Imic. So if you know the deck even better than I do, I think that you would probably go up a fair few percentage points in your matchups. You know, I wasn't just slinging cards. Like I was doing it with knowing my goal, but I don't know the deck or as well as someone like Imic would, obviously.
Well,
So
I feel like
I think it's strong, but it's off meta, if that makes sense.
I
don't know that it's
definitely-
necessarily tier 3.
well.
Totally off meta.
Let's do this then, because who cares? I'm going to just separate off meta from tier 3. Whoa. All right.
Smart.
I do feel like I have a homework assignment now, and I'll try it. And I know Imic has made videos, so I want to kind of check it out. I am
yeah.
excited. I think this is the first time in quite some time that there are new and different decks that may be viable to play in ladder. It's just been a long time since we've seen that. So I'm excited to just see a handful of other things on here. This Ignite Mage post nerf, I really don't know. I think because in my mind, I feel like you have to go away from the more minion based version and probably more to the spell based version, which is like, then you get into your animation speed issues and stuff like that. And so I don't know how the deck is that functional, but then I see these posts of people winning with it, and either it's still good or y'all are just a bunch of filthy cheaters. So I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe 4 mana flow is crazy.
It's so slow. Between
It's so slow.
4 mana flow and 4 mana Sorcerer's Apprentice, like
And to imagine both those cards were
slow.
And Cantor's slow.
just to imagine they were both 2 mana.
Yeah.
Before, and now they're both 4. So it's just insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna dump it here in tier 3 momentarily. If someone wants to debate me on that, I'd love to hear it, just because I don't see how it can be nearly as viable as it was, getting hit so hard. And the same thing with Questline Hunter. Like, we can play it. I saw 2 different versions this week.
What's the replacement in Questline Hunter for
it's
the twin spell?
It's, what is it? Master's Call, I think, is the one where you discover a card in your deck, and if it's a beast, you draw all 3, but it's essentially it's a tutor for Beardo, Auction Master Beardo. And
that's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool, but like Rapid Fire was like the card, and so I and then I saw a version, I think it's in our Discord, but saw a version earlier this week that's Questline Hunter. Someone hit legend with it. Questline Hunter, but it is not the odd version. Like, there's 1, 2, 3 cost cards, and so it's still running Rapid Fire at 2 mana, but like, now that your hero power isn't doing the extra damage, like, you just have to push that much harder. And and it seems like it makes it really not as good.
I don't know if you remember, but like when the quest first came out, it was, which version are you playing? Are you playing the odd version, or are you just playing the regular version? And then it was obvious after a little while that the odd version was much better.
It was very obvious.
It's very obvious. But people were winning games with just the regular Questline Hunter without it being an odd deck. And that's the one that I actually played originally, not realizing, odd is much better. But it was still working. So, could be a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's also the spell-based Questline Hunter as well with Rockdalar, which I think is interesting. It doesn't look as strong. People are just experimenting with the archetype since it lost probably its strongest support card. I think it's fun if you're looking for something to play and to kind of scratch that Questline Hunter itch. That's kind of a fun version.
I like fun decks up to Diamond 5, but then it's time to get serious. And
yeah, especially when you run out of bonus stars.
Yes, that's the problem.
It's like, that was great, and now I need to play something good.
Yeah, I need to get my 11x back. So, anyways, what about so someone earlier had said that even Warlock is criminally underplayed, and I think that that's probably accurate. I mean, and geez, I even saw people playing Darkglare earlier in the week, which has been gone for quite a while as well. Even Warlock has always been pretty good. I think it's probably a high tier 2 if I had to guess.
I'd probably put it in between Shadow Priest and Cthulhu Druid, in between the two. In my experience, again, playing predominantly aggro, whenever I played Aggro Druid, kind of just lost to it. Whenever I played Shadow Priest, I kind of just won against it, because you can go over the top with Shadow Priest, and you can't really do that thing with Aggro Druid. So, I mean, obviously, it's not like a matchup graph where we're putting even Warlock below Shadow Priest because Shadow Priest beats it, right? But Shadow Priest, especially at the beginning of a month, is just a little bit more consistent into a lot of things. But yeah, even Warlock is, I agree, pretty underrated in general. So I like where we have it. Solid tier 2. I think that's probably where it belongs right about now.
You know what I saw? That reminds me, talking about, so Ken Ray and Chad is saying historically Gen and Baku decks. And I've seen people lately start to play even Shaman again with all the various totem synergies, the weapon that that summons copies and buffing them, and it's like, oh, it's been a hot minute since we've seen even Shaman. Like, I love that deck.
Bringing it back.
I don't know where the heck that goes. I mean, I don't know that it's that feels like your tier 3 hipster stuff to me, but it's probably pretty solid. That's an interesting, or if nothing else, maybe it's off meta is the right choice for it. I haven't seen it in such a long time.
Also you catch people off guard too because it's not meta, right? So it's like, whoa.
Well, and speaking of Shaman, that's something that I haven't added to the list yet, right? Is this Shutterwalk Freeze Shaman? And there's a handful of different versions of it, but like that didn't really get hit at all. It's really
it's solid.
It really is. I'd honestly probably put it lower tier 1 than Pirate Warrior, but I'd probably still put it tier 1 personally. Then again, I've been playing predominantly aggro, which it feasts upon. So
that's how it feels.
Shutterwalk Free Shaman might be inflated. Yeah, exactly.
It's you know what though? It's super strong though. I mean, I think it's deck seems really good. And there's a lot of different viable versions. I mean, yeah, I don't know. If Sheep can hit Legend with Murabi Free Shaman, what does that say about the deck, right? I'm not trying to throw shade on you. I'm just like, the deck is solid, right? It's so good. By the way, before the show, I Googled worst Hearthstone cards, and Murabi was pretty high on that list. But I happen to have a gold one.
Just saying.
Yeah, you did. Somebody used Elemental Destruction against me the other day. And I'm like, do you just not have the other cards?
Elemental Destruction. That's a card I haven't thought about in a long time.
It doesn't have like overload of like 1 million.
Yeah, it's like overload 4 or 5 or something crazy like that.
It's excessive.
Jeez. Or the other one that I thought was interesting interesting lately was kind of the return of this like Reno LPG mage that seemed pretty solid actually. Now, it's always been there kind of in the background, and I know there's a few people where it's kind of like their pet favorite deck, but with Hunter and Ignite Mage kind of taking a back seat lately, I've seen it kind of pop back up where maybe some of the more greedy, slower decks have a chance now. I think that's an interesting one, and I'm not really sure where I'd put it. It's kind of like it's strong, but it's slow, and it reminds me in some ways of like the Shutterwalk Free Shaman, where there's so many different tech cards, and I don't know. The funky thing about the Reno decks is that they're just not as consistent as something like Shutterwalk Free Shaman, where you've got a bunch of duplicates, where your chance of drawing into your combo cards is so much stronger. I saw Martian Boo added 2 copies of Ice Fishing to make sure that you draw your Toxfin Flurgle combo, and if you have one extra that you don't need, so be it, but at least you have it. Probably, if I had to guess, I put it low tier 2 or in high tier 3. I don't know. Maybe even off meta. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't run into it yet, so I don't have a good kind of glimpse on it. Haven't run into it yet this season. Obviously, I've run into Reno LPG Mage previously.
Oh, for sure. Hey,
it's been a while.
This is fluid, and it's again, this is like opinion based terrible list. So this is what I will use to help me decide what to ladder with this month. So it's looking like a strong Pirate Warrior month for me, but I guess we'll see.
Pirate Warrior is never a bad idea. Even when it was bad, it was not a bad idea.
True. And now that the quest line's there, it's just so consistent.
Yeah. Oh, Pirate Warrior's always been fun, but the quest line has been extra fun. And all right, so I'm going to take this Owl Warlock and Mechathune Warlock and just kind of group them because it's essentially the same idea with a different win con. No, it feels tier 2-ish to me, but I'm not quite sure where. It seems strong. I mean, they can draw through the deck so quickly, and depending on what you're facing, the Owl is great, but if you're playing against a druid that has a bazillion armor, the Mechathune is going to do better.
Significantly.
I'm just going to throw it here and Aw, Demon Hunter. That's tier 3 hipster stuff, or tier 4.
It's not even old enough to be hipster. It's like halfway.
There.
Tier hipster.
Well, yeah.
Tier 5.
Tier 5, Rod Johnston.
Yeah. Hey, Rod. Hey, Trips. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Demon Hunter is not going to be in Wild anytime soon, I don't think, unless there's some serious revisions.
Yeah, if they end up reverting a bunch of the stuff, then it could definitely be back. But I think they gutted it.
They did, and you know, there's definitely some possibilities with the deck, but the problem is it's or the class in general in Wild is like playing from 5 years behind, and so yeah, you can throw Lotheb in a deck, and you can put Stalag and Fugin in a deck and make like a fun N'Zoth, Reno, Death Rattle, Demon Hunter, but it's like it's not going to be as good as Pirate Warrior or whatever other.
You can make it aggro and throw in Leroy Jenkins, but
well, you know what? That being said, so I it was not last weekend, but the weekend before, I helped cast the Hearthstone Nations Wild Finals with Wicked Good, and we the deck that kind of carried into the finals was a super aggro Demon Hunter deck with a bunch of funky disruption cards, and it was just so fast and so strong. With it was playing Drekthar and Robes of Protection and a couple other things, and it was just like it was so fast, and then with the mana disruption that like it was like winning games on turn 4 or whatever it was, and it was like, oh well, it's a lot better than I was anticipating it to be. When I first saw the list, I was like, and it's Tom Carter, is one of our buddies, and so I feel okay trash talking it in a loving way. I saw the list and I was like, what is this? And then I watched him play it and I was like, oh my, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, this is definitely like your off meta, but I was quite surprised at how good it was and or how fast it was. That being said, it was in a tournament setting as well, and so
that's not ladder.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I played a couple games with it on ladder and lost quite heartily. So that being said, like I don't know how to pilot optimally, and it's very off meta. It plays poorly into some of the more the things that we're seeing a lot of on ladder, your Cthulhu Druids and your Shutterwalk Shaman. So anyways.
Well, and in general, a ladder meta and a tournament meta are going to be found fundamentally different. If you know that your lineup loses hard to like Mechathune Warlock, you can just ban Mechathune Warlock when you see it and prey on everything else, right? So fundamentally, tournament meta or conquest meta in particular, and ladder meta are just going to be really different.
Yeah.
That said, it sounds like a fun deck.
Oh, fun. 100%. Yeah. Okay. So I've got Reno Lock, and I feel like this is probably like an off meta. Like I'm not really sure where you put it. Reno Lock will probably always be good in some regards because it's Reno Lock and there's good cards in it. I haven't seen it myself in quite a while. So I just don't know. It was interesting. I saw a list last month. It was Reno Priest running through, 3 different versions of Xyrella. And so I had marked it and put it in my queue to kind of try it out. And I don't know. I'm not sold on it.
Triple X.
Again, yeah. Reno Priest will probably be always viable to a point. How viable, I don't know. People will be surprised for sure because nobody plays it anymore. I'm kind of curious to throw a list together and see how high I could take it. I'm sure I could hit Diamond 5 with it, but I can't imagine it being any good against your at least the Cthulhu Druid into a bunch of armor would be terrible. Into Shaman, it might not be that bad actually.
Probably not, because it stymies the different pressure that Shaman could put on it. It has, I mean, depending on the way that it's built, either single target removal or like Psychic Scream, stuff like that to stymie the really big things. It's not really presenting a big board to be frozen, so the Guardian isn't really getting a whole lot of attack from your board. So it's kind of limited in its scope as well.
I feel like the Shaman plays really good into board-based decks because you're doing a lot of freezing and a lot of disruption. But like the Priest plays slow and then combos out, and I mean a big Lotheb turn will mess me up, and actually some Dirty Rats would mess me up as well.
Yep. Just depends on which disruption is played when and whether it's
all it's all disruption. There's so much of it. It's the more I think about it, like it's just maybe I'll play it.
I saw Slizzle playing Linecracker.
Yes, that was one almost that I Tech W. That's kind of what it's just a tech deck now. Linecracker is a thing. I saw some people. I think it was Burnt
tech decks.
I remember those. I saw some people, and I think it was Burnt where I saw this, and I think some other people have mirrored it, was the idea of sticking Linecracker and Mechathune in the same deck as a kind of an alternate win con. It definitely wins the mirror match, if you're playing Linecracker versus a Cthulhu Druid, you'll win that war of attrition there for sure. But in terms of the ladder in general, I don't know. I mean, a deck also is not super easy to play. I'm not even quite sure where to put it, whether it's tier 3, tier 2. Like I don't think that it's particularly awesome at the moment, but
I'm not too
probably
experienced.
Real low too, but real low.
Yeah, I don't know how fast you can get the combo off, to be honest. Like, what turn can you actually pull it off realistically?
Well, it's tricky, and you run. I don't know what the name is off the top of my head, but the card that draws 3 and it discards any minions. And I will tell you, like the number of times that I have drawn and discarded 2 Linecrackers and in the same turn is more than 2.
Oh, Fungal Fortunes,
yeah. With Guff enables some combos now, and I forgot. I think maybe fun to play. I don't know about viable, maybe fun. I played Aviana Coon Shenanigans in the Listener series this week, and like when you've got more than 10 mana, like Aviana Coon, draw a bunch of cards, play them all out, like it's pretty solid. I don't know. Can you ladder with that? Like, I don't.
If you're patient enough.
Well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And where we always go at the end of the day with Wild is that Wild is so fast and there's so much disruption. And so, could you play something like that? Yeah, for sure. Probably up until Diamond 5, but you're going to probably get endlessly frustrated trying to win games against a Pirate Warrior or Free Shaman. So, what are we missing, chat? I'm sure there's other stuff. I'm over here not checking Tempo Storm or Vicious Syndicate or whatever else too, and so I'm sure there's stuff, but
it's not that popular. But for the first time in a long time, I have run into a couple Secret Mages.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, here's some. Yeah. So Caverns Below Rogue.
Astro.
And the other one is Pillager.
Jay Alexander was playing some Caverns Rogue the other day.
Oh,
Deck is pretty solid, actually.
that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
We had goofed around with a bunch of Caverns Below Rogue in the Listener series, and it was doing surprisingly well with really terrible suboptimal cards because of the weekly challenge. Yeah. But if it could be that good with bad cards, couldn't it be that much better with good cards? Like, I mean, as off meta can get, but I mean, you can complete, because the quest is reverted back to playing 4. Like, you could do that remarkably fast. I don't know.
I don't think I've touched it since it's been reverted.
My list of tier 3 hipster decks is growing larger and larger.
Yes, good.
I don't know really where else to add it except there.
Yeah.
And someone can change my mind, but Dark Glare is I don't know. I'm not sure about Dark Glare either. The deck will probably always be good just because it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Schmoopy, what do you mean probably close to tier 1? What is? You talking about Caverns or are you talking about Dark Glare? I don't think either are tier 1. I mean, Dark Glare is
I mean, it's good, but I haven't seen it around that much, so can't be that good.
You think Quest Rogue is at least tier 2?
If that's the case, I would play it.
Hey, y'all got a list?
Yeah.
Right?
I miss it so much. Yeah.
I would
Says
love to
yes
play
because
some
the meta
Caverns
is
Rogue.
greedy.
All right. Hey, all right. You know what? I'm excited. You know, we're interacting, and I think that this is I'm down to try it. I like this. Pirate Warrior dunks it hard. Yeah, well,
I bet it does.
I am at a point where I am happy to experiment, and if it tanks my rank, then so be it.
I mean, I've got 10 stars to burn or whatever, so I could just keep jamming it until I run out.
You know what? I'm okay putting it
Kenry's
up
got a
at like
list.
top to mid tier 2, and we can experiment, and if we're wrong, then we'll blame Kenray and Blue Train. There we go.
We've already escaped some goats.
That's right. All right, there you go. It's on this. It's in chat. I'll put it in the show notes here, and here's a list to try. And hopefully, I copied and pasted it right from chat because it's kind of difficult to do from here.
It does, in fact, run the Vicious Scalehide good.
Hey, that's a great card for this deck. All right.
Ooh,
Well, I like it.
Raiding Party into South Sea Deckhand and Bloodsail Fly Booter. Wow. Yeah, this seems pretty consistent.
What about or where do we want Pillager Rogue? Now I know this is like the Maxi Bond special, right? So there are a handful of people that are really good with this deck, but the deck is hard to play. And so I think that it's solid, but I always struggle with where to put it.
So
It's one of
if
those decks that
Maxi's-
oh, sorry, Sheep, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. So if Maxi's piloting it, I would say like high tier 2. If anyone else is piloting it, I'd say probably hipster stuff.
Yeah, like it reminds me of like a Grim Patron Warrior, right? Like in the right hands, it's a really good deck, but in the hands of like an average player or anybody else who's got the list and is trying it out, it's a really hit and miss.
Yeah. All right. No, that's fine. I like that. See, this is our list. I'll put notes on it. There you go. It needs a good pilot. Great deck, but hard to play. All right.
Yeah.
There was
Honestly,
one...
looking at our thing, you know me, I got to advocate for it. Aggro Druid should probably go up below Ignite Mage into tier 3 hipster stuff rather than straight up off meta.
I like that. The off meta,
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how
my
to
baby.
I don't know. I don't know how to rank the off meta stuff because you can climb with it, especially. This is one of these other things that there are people who specialize in different decks, right? So I've got Imic, who is championing this combo priest lately and doing very well with it. I've got Ben from work, who is very, very skilled at playing even Warlock, right? Is kind of one of his pet decks, and different people have different decks, and so they are going to play this deck considerably better than I'm going to, or someone else for that matter. And so it's difficult to label a deck like that as a, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, whatever it is. Right. Especially when you're not seeing very much of it. I remember when even Reno Lock was like the hot thing for a few weeks there. And
oh yeah.
So, what about Kingsbane? I saw a few people playing that lately as well. Or Scimitar Rogue, one or the other. I think they're, someone's going to call me out for saying this, but they're almost interchangeable because it's the same idea. Bad. Yeah, right.
Poor Blue Train because he loves Kingsbane.
I'd probably put it in off meta, unfortunately.
I think you can get away with playing it, but yeah, you're going to get run over a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah. Interchangeable. Yeah, all right.
Out. Which sucks is because my Kingsbane Rogue is all gloriously gold.
So is mine.
Mine 3.
Yeah, no,
and my Scimitar Rogue is too.
Scimitar Rogue is fun. I've seen a couple versions. In fact, the one did in that same Hearthstone Nations Wild finals a couple weeks ago. In the finals, the Scimitar Rogue did really well. Actually, like really well. It's just super aggro and fast. Again, this is definitely an off meta thing, and it's what had happened, I think, is kind of like we were talking about before. A tournament deck is different than a ladder deck.
Right.
It's 1600 dust and 40 dust interchangeable. Yeah, all right. I will. All right. They're two different decks, and there you go. There are a few. I mean, this is another one, right, where you have a player like Pendragon or like Smudge who is incredibly talented with this deck and can take it to Legend regardless of how hostile the meta is to it. And so that this is also a thing. We don't have Paladin on here really, and I don't know where to put it. Like Odd Paladin is just dead at the moment. I've seen hand buff is a thing, but I haven't seen it in a while. Tax Paladin or whatever it's called, I haven't seen in a while. And then I've got this thing with NHL lately. This is like Reno Paladin, which was admittedly surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be, but I've played so few games with it that I don't know where to classify it without, I don't feel like I have the authority to talk on it.
Seeing things play against it more consistently. Yeah, I've run into a fair amount of hand buff paladins, and I mean, it's still a good deck. I haven't run into tax paladin at all lately, so I'd probably put hand buff paladin probably like tier 2.
Yeah,
probably right above caverns, maybe in between Caverns and Cthulhu Druid, one or the other.
Yeah.
It's still a strong deck. Still good.
I will say the new Cariel hero is just carries. It's really
Cariels.
Yeah, a handful.
I think it's funny when stuff other decks become more popular. Sometimes stuff just sort of disappears, and it's not necessarily because it's bad. It's just there's like a new hotness.
Right.
Oh,
that's so sad that even Reaver Ryan isn't playing Odd Paladin right now.
Odd Paladin is so bad that even Reaver Ryan plays Fire Warrior. Oh my gosh.
I played Odd Paladin yesterday because I had play 20 Hero Power quest. And I mean, you hero power when you play that, and I knew that Hunter wasn't very good, so I just decided to play Mentalistics list from months and months ago. And remember how I said that I played some secret mages recently. Well, I ran into secret mage using flame ward.
Flame ward, yeah.
Great.
Wow.
That didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
No.
What did we miss here? We got Shaman. I don't think there's really any other Shaman decks that we missed. We got Druid. I haven't seen a Celestial Alignment deck in ages. I don't really know that. I don't even know that that's a thing right now. Or
That nerf did its duty.
Yeah. All right. In terms of priest decks, we've got our aggro Shadow Priest, and I think that's pretty much it. Any sort of like Reno list I haven't seen in ages.
No big priest.
Big priest?
I've
a little, but not
priest.
much.
There's some, and I big priest.
I don't think it would be bad. I just haven't seen much of it.
Yeah,
It's probably tier 3 hipster stuff, but like high tier 3 hipster stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's none of it got hit. It hasn't changed at all. I don't think it's bad. It's just not. I
mean, it's just when everyone's playing aggro, if you draw horribly, you're so screwed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you draw well, they're so screwed.
Yeah, frog burn shaman is a thing. I don't think that it's super great, and that's another one that's sort of like when it draws well, like it wins games. I'm not very good at the deck or don't have much experience playing it, but I've seen a few people play it, and it's solid. It's solid tier 3 hipster stuff maybe, but I think it's not bad. This is one that probably gets dunked on by Pirate Warrior would be my guess, but I could be wrong, you know.
Oh, Dunk Tank is a shaman card.
Yeah, well,
trying to rack my brain if there's anything else.
All right, what other classes, right? So I've got then back in Paladin, Odd Paladin is just dead. Tax Paladin is Hand Buff Paladin is not bad. All right, if we touch on Warrior, and I've got Pirate Warrior.
That's it.
Dead Man's Hand is always going to be your
hipster.
Oh, that is about as hipster as it goes. In fact, it's got a whole fan club. I hear that if you play it correctly, it has a 100% win rate. Just nobody knows how to do that. In terms of other warrior stuff, I don't really think that there's much, at least not that's not so off meta. You know, I haven't seen an ETC warrior in ages. And when we had talked about doing like the card review and the new legendary Galvinger, I was thinking Galvatron. I was like, that's not right. Galvinger, like there's some OTK potential, but like nobody's doing it. And
like odd Silas OTK is probably more consistent, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, and nobody's playing, Odd Warrior anymore either. So that, it's so far removed that it doesn't even seem worth it to list it.
Agreed.
So I don't see really any other Warrior stuff. Looking at Mage, I've got your like Ignite, sort of, with the nerf to Sorcerer's Apprentice. Our APM Mage is pretty much gone as well. I think I tried it. I had a daily quest that was play X number of frost spells or X number of fire spells or whatever it was, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll make this APM Mage and play it with a bunch of 0 or 1 cost like little spells, and I won a couple of games with it, but like it's not. I don't think that it's in a good spot anymore. Secret Mage is really hipster. Sorry, Schmoopy. I was like the deck for a long time, and I think
that
if like Schmoopy's not even playing it, it's super hipster right now.
Well, that's what we say, right? When we get the specialist, not playing their deck anymore, what does it say about the deck, right? So if Schmoopy's not playing Secret Mage, and Reaver Ryan's not playing Odd Paladin, and Pendragon's not playing Kingsbane, like, then what a sad state we're in.
I've got a feeling that the people that are still playing Secret Mage are like people that play Standard, but the one deck they have in Wild is Secret Mage. And they go and just play that. Because, like, it is super easy to play, and it is super cheap to craft. So if you're just like a Standard player, you can... Anybody who plays Standard can craft a Secret Mage super easy. And we used to recommend that. And, but yeah, it's not very good right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, if there was ever a new player, sure, play Secret Mage. It's a...
I mean, you'll win games.
The deck, the deck will always be good, at least good adjacent. It's just it's not what it once was. All it's going to take is like a mini set to come out with a one or two support cards to like, or meta dependent too, right?
Yeah, I think that's honestly what it is more than anything else is meta dependency.
I kind of want to play it now.
I mean, it's fun. You can watch Netflix and then you select the cards that turn yellow.
It's great. Kenray reminded us, Cute Lock. Cute Lock is very good, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very easy to play, but my goodness, the deck can swing games like crazy, and it's quite fast. I think Discard Warlock is all but dead, but Cute Lock is pretty good. In fact, I'd even probably say it's in tier 2 at some point, maybe like lower tier 2, but I think it's pretty good. Like, Cute Lock is bait. I don't know. I don't think it's... No way it's tier 2, maybe 3. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it probably gets hard dunked on by the tier 1 decks, so maybe you're right. I'll put it in tier 3.
Every time I've played against it, it's done really well against me, but I'm also not playing the things that prey on
like
it. So.
Turn 3 in their board just suddenly got huge. And you're like, well, okay, well.
Yeah.
I don't know if my ship's cannon's going to kill that stuff.
That's great.
I found lethal. It's the concede button.
All right. Anything we're missing? Any other classes that we haven't touched on? Demon Hunter, just doesn't even count as wild, unfortunately.
No. Unfortunately, not.
The Druid stuff we touched on.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think. And Hunter only has one deck, unfortunately, and they killed it.
I've run into a fair amount of people experimenting with Even Hunter.
You could bring Even Hunter back.
Even Hunter is not bad.
It's not bad.
Actually, it's just...
It was picking up steam not too long ago. A couple months ago, people were playing it.
I'd say like high tier 3, low tier 2.
Yeah. Well, and it's another one that sort of is good in the right hands as well, where someone like Seth or whoever can pilot it super well, and when I get it, I'm like, Even Hunter, go face, brr, and then just get dunked on by whatever deck it is because I'm playing it wrong. So, I mean, I think it's good.
It's got
Question
definite
mark?
potential.
Like, it's there. Yeah. Well, this is about as much as I can think of. Secret Hunter kind of exists. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I put it anywhere, it'd be in your like hipster category. I think it'd be super fun to play.
I'd probably call that one straight up off meta at this point, unfortunately, just because it was experimented quite a bit right whenever Alterac came out with the new hero, but we haven't really seen it since then. So definitely, I'd say off meta, not tier 5 because it's probably pretty good, but just the off meta.
Yeah, my bad. I'm
all
in the
good.
wrong place, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it has a lot of potential. It's just super off meta. People aren't really playing it. If and when they do and refine it, I think it's got the potential to be tier 2 or 3. I think it could be really good. Schmoopy Daddy in particular could probably do a lot with that. I know he was experimenting with it earlier. So yeah, I'm like its inclusion on our list, but I also like where we included it on our list.
Yeah. Fun. Hey, this is fun. You know, I maybe we're right and maybe we're wrong. Don't really care, but it's a lot of fun.
Overall, we're mostly right. Some things could probably be moved around a bit, but in general,
the placement of them in their various tiers and up or down, you know, a low tier 2, high tier 3 are sort of interchangeable.
We'll see what happens when the Tempo Storm one comes out. We can put them beside each other.
That'd be great. I can't wait. Let me
those people with actual stats and like dedicated like specific class experts, and us going tier list go burr, and here we go.
I really lose to this one a lot, so it's tier 1.
There's not this is the opinion based anecdotal
Vicious
tier list.
Syndicate style almost.
Now, Vicious Syndicate uses a lot of data, like a lot of data.
I always thought that it was like there's Tempo Storm and Vicious Syndicate. One of them uses data, and the other one is opinion based.
Yeah, so Tempo Storm is more opinion based, but it like they recruit specific experts for each one, and I mean like they have a pretty tried and true method of doing the thing. Both are valuable just for different things.
It's that meme like different but the same, but different but the same.
Same but different.
Yeah, I think they're both very good, and they do the same thing differently, but I think they're both great tools. So, and you know what? There's not as much data for Wild because not as many people play it, and so it gets a little bit more tricky, I think, sometimes than your standard data-based lists are. But the people that work on these lists are, I think, the right people to be working on these lists, and so I don't have any problem trusting either of them. I think they're both good.
Yeah, and I think that we had the right people working on our list too.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
No bias there whatsoever.
Hey, yes. So if you're interested in trusting our official, unofficial, anecdotal, opinion-based Born to be Wild tier list, then
586% correct list.
That's right. So here it is. I don't think that there's necessarily anything to add to it, but whatever. It's been fun. So tier 1,
it's unimpeachable.
That's right. Tier 1, Quest Pirate Warrior, Shadow Rock Free Shaman. There you go. Tier 2, Shadow Priest, Even Warlock, Caverns Below Rogue, which is your spicy hot take there. Handbuff Paladin, Cthulhu Druid, Owl/Mechathune Warlock, Linecracker Druid, Dark Lair, Even Hunter, maybe. Tier 3 hipster stuff, Cute Lock, Frog Burn Shaman, Big Priest, Pillager Rogue, which is a really good deck, but it's difficult to play. Reno LPG Mage, Aggro Druid, Ignite Mage, post-nerf, Odd Questline Hunter, post-nerf, and Questline Hunter, the non-odd version. And then your off-meta decks that are really difficult to place because not very many people are playing them, but have had some success. Combo Priest, Even Shaman, Reno Lock, Secret Hunter. Secret Hunter is about as off-meta as it gets, I think, but I love the new Tavish card. It looks super fun. It is super fun to play. And then your tier 5, which is just like, I'm sorry, you can't play this right now. At least not if you want to win games. If you have the play 3 games quest, you can certainly try one of these, but because those don't require you to win.
On a ranked floor.
Yeah. Odd Demon Hunter, Kingsbane, rip. Odd Paladin, rip. Reno Priest, I just don't think is... it's a shade of its former self, unfortunately. Or fortunately, however you look at it. So, there we have it. This has been fun.
It has. The official Born to be Wild tier list. Right there. You heard it here first. You heard us make it. Check it.
Hey, it's fun to do. This is something new, right? We did a work session on the show.
Impromptu.
This is fun. All right, I've screenshotted it. We'll to make it more official. I think this is great. Awesome. I had fun doing that. Thank you for entertaining my desire to make do a goofy thing this week. So had a lot of fun with that. All right.
Yeah,
Well, hey,
it was a blast.
it's about that time to kind of wrap things up so that we can host a match. So if I can, this is I think a good time to transition over to Sheep to briefly go over our listener series. Got a fun one this week.
Yeah, we do. So, of course, for those of you who may not be familiar with our listener series, the Born to be Wild listener series is a free Wild Hearthstone tournament series with custom deck building restrictions for each week. The main regular season lasts 5 weeks, followed by 3 weeks of playoffs. So, we are in week 4 of season 4 of the listener series. And this week's challenge is called The Top End by Cyber Gamer. So for the top end, all decks must contain 10 cards that cost between 0 and 4, and 20 cards that cost 5 or more mana. So no other restrictions on spells, weapons, hero cards, etc. The normal bans are in effect, so no Ice Block, no Ganner Baku, no Raid the Docks or Defend the Dwarven District, and then of course the wild ban cards are banned here too. So like the Demon Seed and the other one whose name I always forget, Stealer of Souls, that one. Mm-hmm. We do have some specifically banned cards for this week in particular. So that of course is Zephyrus the Great, Reno Jackson, and Celestial Alignment. If you want to run a Highlander deck, you're going to have to do so without Zephyrus and Reno's help. There are some other options if you really want to do that thing. The other Renos, like Reno the Relicologist and the Amazing Reno, still legal, just not the OG we're going to be rich buddy. Celestial Alignment, of course. We're running the high end. We don't then want to make everything cost 1. Kind of defeats the purpose. So after the show this evening, we will be casting the match between our good friends, Dr. BOMD and Ginger Ninja. So stay tuned for that match. It's going to be intense. If you're watching live, we will stream that match right after the show. If you're catching this on the replay, either on YouTube, or in your ears via podcast, what I mostly do. Nate posts the casted match on YouTube right after as well. So be sure to do that thing. It'll be a lot of fun. And check it out. The casted match, we're doing the thing then. Be sure to check it out on YouTube afterwards if you're not joining us live. For additional information about the listener series as a whole, and this week in particular, be sure to check out the website www.borntobewildhs.com. So that is
.com. Yep.
Up here in Canada, it's .ca.
That's great.
But the website is not .ca. Don't do that.
That's awesome.
All right. Hey, so we have each week, we do a listener challenge where we will come up with something that we think will challenge all of you listening to kind of participate in. And this past week was no exception. So, Hydra, what did we do last week?
So this past week, what we decided to do was see who could create the largest minion in hand. So not played onto the field, what the biggest one you could get in your hand was. And so this past week, we had the amazing Kenray post this image of a massive 8894 Zayden the Scarlet.
Yeah, I had
this blew my expectations, to be honest.
I will say that, the one of the reasons we wanted it in hand was that there are ways to keep growing it, though for whatever reason I hadn't considered the new Cariel hero card that is just going to keep adding +4/+4/+4/+4 over and over and over, which is I think part of the way this happened, in like kind of looking at the cards played over at the side of the screen. But regardless, keeping in mind that this is in hand unplayed, and so my goodness, this is enormous, and this is what I'd love to see. And there were some other honorable mentions. I saw a pretty large Edwin Van Cleef as well, but you know what, this is pretty good. And Ken Ray in chat, as it turns out, +8/+8 every turn is a lot. Yes,
that is in fact more than 2.
I didn't think about that. So that works in hand as well. The buff?
It does in hand, or even like in deck. Any way, any place that Satan is buffed, it doubles it.
I learned something new this week, so maybe everyone else learned something new as well. Yeah, I thought I had only considered that happening on the board, but it's really interesting that the hand buff mechanics work so well with this as well. I think we gold packed this one as well.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
So,
well, congratulations, Ken Ray.
Yeah,
you
congrats.
earned 2 packs on us, so you can we'll reach out to you, you reach out to us, just ask us which expansion you would like those packs from, and we will get those to you as soon as possible. So for this week's challenge, we're gonna stick with how big you can make a minion, but we're gonna change it up a little bit. How big can you make a minion on your opponent's side of the board and then have them get lethal on you with it? So yes, make the largest minion on their side of the board, and then you have to die from them killing you with it. So it's a 2-part challenge. The biggest one, then you die from it.
Bonus, so if you bonus points if it's an Iotron, because then you get the achievement as well.
Oh yeah.
That one only if it's in ranked for the achievement.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
So if you're wondering how you can participate,
wait a minute. That's a good. You know what? I'm sorry. I don't usually do this, but that's a really good question. Does it count if you attack into it?
Oh no, it does not. No.
Yeah.
No, they have
to attack with it.
Yes, good point. So Ken Ray asked that question in chat. Does it count if you use your weapon to attack into it or your hero power to attack into it? You cannot. They have to actively use that card, point it at your face, and hit you with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're going to have your opponent scratching their head a little bit. But
this is inspired, actually. The reason I thought of this was I had a mutinous eat I believe it was a Deathwing or something in my hand. It was something really big, and they had like a 17/17 or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Sad.
And they killed me with it, and that's sort of what procked this idea this week of hey, what's the biggest minion your opponent can kill you with? So if you're wondering how you can participate, you can do this challenge either on ladder or in casual mode. You cannot do this against a friend, because this one, of course, against a friend would be way too easy, right? You guys could work together to make the biggest minion. As well as you cannot do this in any of the solo content against the Innkeeper, any of that, because also we've realized the Innkeeper, while he's a great guy, isn't the best player. So he will let you win. So what you have to do is play in casual, play on ladder, take a screenshot, post it in our Discord under the weekly challenges channel, and the winner will be announced on next week's show, and you will receive 2 Hearthstone packs on us and be immortalized in the Hall of Fame on the Born to Be Wild website. So we're really looking forward to see who can get destroyed by their enemy's biggest dude.
Love it.
Oh, does it have to be a silver hand recruit?
No, it does not have to be a silver hand recruit. That would
Doesn't
be
have to
funny.
be doesn't have to be one of those
dude.
kinds of dudes. Just a minion.
No, just a minion. Just a minion.
Love it. Love it. That's very fun. It's always fun to see what kind of crazy things people can come up with, and I love the interaction. I love getting to post these screenshots. Where else can you go to see 3 mana 8894? Okay, you can only see that here on Born to Be Wild. I love it. I love it. Well, hey
With
everybody.
Rush.
Hey, it does have Rush too as well. I love it. Oh dear. Well, hey everybody, that wraps up this week's show. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much for the participation tonight in chat. It was very beneficial and entertaining. Thank you to everyone that contributed in the Discord, and had an absolute blast after what has been a very long and tiring week. And so I'm kind of energized and excited to jump into our Born to Be Wild listener series match. And again, just a quick reminder for those of you watching this live, we're going to take a quick break and then come back with a cast match that should be an absolute blast. If you're catching this recording later, check out our YouTube to watch the match there. And for more wild content, or see where you can reach out to us or find us individually, check out our website, which is borntobewildhs.com. And that's it for us. We will be back next week with another fun episode. Job's done.
Job's done.
I quit. My job, not the show.
Oh, thank you.